Alright, hey guys, working on a 2014 Mazda 6. We have the P011A code again. Alright, now this, I already made a video replacing sensor 1. I'm going to post a video replacing sensor 2. And now I gotta go even further than that, to go even further to see what's going on with this car. So, in a nutshell, we have it's a coolant correlation code. Okay, there is a step list of things to go through to make sure that we get this thing right. So, in a nutshell, it's replaced. Let's go through the steps. Check the output of coolant temperature sensor 1 and 2. Engine coolant temperature sensor 1 and 2. I've replaced both of these already. 29 degrees Celsius is like 84. I think this is like 89. So they're relatively close. So, but either way, we also know that they're both working because we're getting outputs from them. So that's good. Engine coolant temperature is 29 degrees as well. The only reason why temperature 2 might be a little bit different is because this sensor is right by the heater core. Alright, with that being said, another issue as far as the Mazda is concerned, the quality of the coolant can go. This car has 167,000 miles on it. I know the coolant was probably never changed. We have that. There's air bubbles in the coolant. If there's any air in the car, that could cause this code to go up. We're not overheating, so I don't think we have any air, but I'm gonna drain it. I'm gonna drain it anyway. 3, we can replace the thermostat to make sure that the temperature is where it's supposed to be at and where it wants to be at. And 4, the very last one, is a clogged heater core on this car. It's almost 100 degrees out here today, so it's going to be a hot one. But I'm going to also make sure that the heat works. So the coolant isn't nasty, it's not gunky, it's not anything like that. So it's not giving me any signs that there's that kind of issue. But we're just going to basically drain the coolant. I'm going to fill it back up with proper Mazda coolant. I'm going to replace the thermostat on it as well. It's just, if you drain the coolant, might as well. And I'm going to put a new radiator cap on it as well. Then we're going to come back to the car while this car is running with the new coolant. While we're bleeding it, we're going to also look at these numbers, clear the code out, and we'll see where everything goes. So now let's get to the engine. Alright, so let's talk about what we're going to attack here. Number 1, we're going to replace that thermostat. That thermostat is this hose right here. I know it's hard to see. It has a plastic housing with 3 bolts on it. It sits right underneath this metal thing. It's right here where my hand is touching. It's 3 bolts. We're going to break those off, but that's after we drain the coolant. Here is our radiator cap. We need to pop this. We need to crack this open to take the pressure out the system. Hold on. Okay. So when we do that, when we open the bleeder valve, which is located down here, that little ribbon, we open that up. This will allow the coolant to pour out. Pull off this front cover. There's a series of 8 mils, a couple 10s, couple push clips. Remove them. This is our bleeder right there. The hose, the fluid will come out right here. I do apologize, y'all. It is 100 degrees out here today and it's hot. I need to get in and get out of this. There we go. All right, we're starting to get some drainage. Now we're just gonna let this drain out. Okay. Okay. So these are 8 mils right now. Got my hand underneath. Now we will lose some coolant, so be prepared for some to get on the motor, even though we already drained it. There we go. And she's coming out. Good. I don't know what the issue is with Mazda parts. Like, I've been having issues with Mazda parts lately. But basically, I'm going to transfer this gasket onto here. It's still fine. It's not broken. It's not messed up. Wet it up a little bit. One important thing to look at, there's a tab here. When you look in the thermostat housing, this tab sits in the up position. So make sure when you put the thermostat in, this tab is sticking up. Also, It would be easier to remove the thermostat if you remove the battery. It has a plastic housing. The plastic housing is actually thick and very nice, but I always recommend replacing the housing as well. The housing is not in stock, and that housing is it's like $54. That's a lot of money for a little plastic housing. So anyway, I'm gonna transfer this gasket to here, throw it in there, and we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna put this new thermostat in there. Like I said, with that tab sticking in the up position, we're going to reinstall the 3 bolts, and I'll see what the torque spec is for that. So I'm gonna just kind of hover over that. It's so hot today, you guys. I just gotta move a little quicker. Let's get this on. Those of you wondering, you can use a 3/1/4 inch socket with a long nose 8mm, and right there feels like it doesn't want to go anymore. Transition to the bottom. Thermostat is installed, re-torqued down. This is our overflow tank right here. This is still not completely empty, but that's okay. Now, with your no spill kit, no spill kit, you need to find an adapter that fits best here, like that. It's good. And then you have to find a cap for it. Alright, get this on here like so. Good. Now we're gonna fill this up with the proper coolant. Make sure you get Mazda coolant. It's a green coolant. We're using Prestone. Let's fill it up. Now go down, keep filling it. Alright, now that it stopped consuming coolant, let's get in the car. Let's fire it up. Fire it up. Cool. Now, while this is running, we are going to turn this on. I'm going to crank this up to AC off. Crank that heat all the way up. 90. We're going to put the fan on low. So what happens is, as the car is bleeding, coolant will go through the heater core, and we'll feel the heat come back. We might not have heat right now because there's no coolant in the car, so we're gonna let this run for about 10-15 minutes. Let's go to the front. While the car is running, we're gonna let it run for 10 to 15 minutes. As you see, bubbles are gonna start coming up. Just keep an eye on this. We'll constantly see bubbles coming up because the fluid is bleeding itself. See those bubbles? They'll keep doing this for a while. Once the car gets up to a certain temperature, that thermostat will open up, and when it opens up, it may suck more coolant down. So be very prepared to refill this if necessary. So alright, let's wait the 10-15 minutes and I'll get back to y'all. Little side note, you don't actually have to remove this whole panel. You can just drop this thing right here, and this gives you access to the drain plug. Okay, so we've been letting the car run for about 20 minutes now. It's no longer sucking any coolant down. Check engine light is off. We are looking at our engine coolant temperature, our coolant temperature 1 and 2. Our coolant temperature is 88 degrees Celsius. I gotta fix that on this thing. See what that actually is in Fahrenheit. 88 degrees Celsius is about 190 degrees. That's exactly where we want to be at. The one thing I will say is the coolant 2 is at 50 degrees Celsius. That bothers me a little bit. I'm gonna have to check the heater core, but the heat is definitely working. It's hot as hell. On here it says we are burning at 149 degrees. So I mean, it's 100 degrees out here, so it's hot, but this heat is definitely working. So if we have any more issues, we might have to deal with our heater core needing to be flushed, which is weird because it's working so well. But anyway, let's go out the car, let's check it. One thing I did forget to mention is you do not put any coolant in the overflow tank while it's bleeding, okay? So I'm gonna pop this off. Damn bugs. I'm gonna pop this off and move that to the side. Okay, this will seal this off like that. Then we're gonna transfer this coolant into here, into the overflow tank. It should have a, okay, hot, cold, and full. Our full mark is right here, so I'm gonna fill it up to here. And we're just gonna let that pour in. Don't know if you can tell, but that is at the full mark. When you're done bleeding, I got a radiator cap. It's always a good idea to get a new radiator cap because it's over the years. Just want to replace it. It's 2014, probably never been replaced. So just simply come here with it and snug it down, and there you go. This is actually releases the pressure if you ever have to open this, but we're gonna keep that closed. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, so that's on. Coolant's filled up. We have a new engine coolant temperature sensor here, new engine coolant temperature sensor here, new thermostat, and new coolant. Okay, you guys, misreading. Once I put that radiator cap on, I'm about to take it for a spin. This is why I guess you should take things for a drive. Engine coolant temperature is 89 degrees Celsius. That is about, I think, like 192. And the engine coolant temperature 2 is at 82 degrees, which is about 180. All right, last temperature reading. Just took the car for a drive. Engine coolant temperature 93, engine coolant temperature 2 92. Everything seems to be working perfectly fine with the heater core. We changed the ECT sensors 1 and 2. I'll put a video up of the 2. We changed the thermostat, which is going to help with coolant temperature. We changed the coolant, which is going to help with the quality of the coolant. It's no longer low grade coolant. We changed the radiator cap as well, which should help with generating pressure. Water pump is not leaking, and we checked the heat. So everything in regard to that code should be working. I think we should be good now. So hopefully this helps you guys out, and this code doesn't come back because I'm tired of seeing it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Till next time, out.